Hello, beautiful people. Hello, my acquaintances of the world. My name is Ana Torres. Welcome to Ana's Little Green Book. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope you're doing well. If you are like me, you probably take notes like there's no tomorrow. So today I wanted to take some time and have a real talk about sticky notes. Sticky notes, believe it or not, were invented in 1968. It was by Dr. Spencer Silver, and he was a 3M company chemist. And it actually came to where it was actually a complete accident to where he did it. He was actually trying to work on a pretty heavy duty glue, but it was completely the opposite. So that's how the sticky notes were born. Sticky notes are better known as Post-its, essentially the brand. There's a lot of others that have pretty much done very similar products, but that was pretty much the first one that was done. And essentially what they are repostable and like repositionable notes, and you can actually grab it and it can be put in several different surfaces. It can be paper, it can be metal, it can be any type of plastics. So we probably have all done this, and we just work it as reminders, maybe as a to-do list. It doesn't matter what it is. It probably something that you have done in the past. They actually hit market in 1970, and it started as a 3-inch square in canary color. But obviously, as of now, there's so many like different sizes, and there's a lot of different colors, mostly known by its bright colors like green, blue, orange, and pink. So again, when it comes to this, the obsession came back in the 1970s. And it is definitely true that by handwriting what you need to do, it is more likely for you to be able to remember. It's not necessarily because it's a huge reminder. It definitely keeps ourselves in place. Obviously, there's some times that we just really do need reminders. I'm one of those. So when it comes to this one, the only problem is that we can really consider that this is detrimental to the environment as well. Since they are just used temporarily, yes, we can put it in and reposition it as many times as we want to, but usually that's not definitely the case. So essentially when it comes to this ones, there's about 50 billion Post-its that are sold worldwide. So that's a lot of Post-its. And actually it's like in between like 1,000 different products that are being sold in over 150 countries. I did want to talk a little bit more about production. I mean, like everything will take some toll in the environment to make, but when it comes to making this tiny pads that I've definitely have used in the past, they're about considered to be 90 football fields of actual American forests that are being cleared out in order to be doing this on a yearly basis. So that's a huge amount of land that it's actually being torn out in order to create those, and that's only going to be for Post-its. There's so many other products that are being done. So actually that specific provider has different types of pieces of land in different places to make different things. So I don't know, maybe take in consideration the 3M masking tape that actually destroys the boreal forest in Canada. There's another one where in order to make bright sponges, those to clean, the Brazil paper mills are the ones that are being destroyed. And when it comes to Post-its, it's very national. It's all coming from just like logging here in the US. So just keep that in mind. There's so many forests that are actually being torn down in order to be creating those. But I just didn't want to talk about that. I actually wanted to talk about the recycling portion of things. So when it comes to this one, there's no really single question that question that can be answered with a single answer, just because it really depends on how you are recycling in the location that you are actually at. It can just vary because there's some that are not able to do the whole adhesive on it, or maybe there's some machines that are not able to do this specific type of paper. As an overall, it has been told that according to some recyclable machines, there is the opportunity to do it, but again, it's very dependent, and unfortunately most of those post-its that are being recycled don't end up where they have to. They're actually being shipped or sent to like just other places overseas, which again, it's bringing so much fuel intensive transportation, which is really bad. So that's where it is actually contaminating a lot. And by being transported, again, it's not staying locally. It doesn't end up in our landfills, but again, it is still polluting. We've been talking about other types of products that actually are polluting from beginning to end, so manufacturing to disposal. Essentially, this can be considered like that. This does not fall behind, so keep that in mind as well. When it comes to the recycling portion of it as well, the 3M adhesive is water soluble, but just keep in mind that everything has chemicals on it. So that's one of the main things that is it's actually going into our water systems. And it's just like with brighteners and dyes and bleachers, like all of that is actually going in there. So again, not the greatest of the opportunities, and a lot of water providers say that they do most of what they can, but the sediments and dissolved solids are better than anything that is going to that process. Like adhesives are one of those that cannot be broken down. Not only that, when it comes to just breaking down the adhesive, it needs to be very careful like process. So according to 3M, this is going to be able to just disintegrate whenever they're going through the depulping and de-inking process, just because of the whole process. That's usually what actually happens. It does break it down, but again, it just depends very specifically where it's being recycled. So there's times that you're putting those recyclables into the recyclable bin, but it's not necessarily able. So I would definitely go ahead and recommend you to just go ahead and call your local recycling provider, because they're all different, and then just asking them what they're actually able to recycle or not, and that way you'll know if they are recyclable. One of the things that people say, it's, well, let's use reusable sticky notes. Well, that would be great. Actually, it would be a lot better than just normal stickies, but I'm not telling you to go ahead and not use the ones that you currently have and go and get some more. That's definitely not what we're trying to do in this respect. Again, I'm running out of light like last time, so I'm opening this a little bit. So yeah, essentially when it comes to that, we need to just take in consideration that, again, there's a lot of things that do come into mind, but essentially when it comes to the recyclable sticky notes or post-its, however you want to call them, it does take about 40 to 60% less energy to be able to manufacture, just because there's ways that so one of them is actually creating the tree pulp. That's going to take a lot longer to be able to create. With this one, since it's already been done and it's just being recycled, that's why less energy is actually being used. When it comes to just the recycling result, about 74% is decreased in air pollution, and then about 35 less pollution when it comes to water. So a great way of decreasing, but again, we come back to the single process of which you're still creating that trash. You're still just consuming those things that are actually polluting, either on manufacturing or whenever it's being disposed, if they're not being disposed correctly. So just to keep in mind, also when it comes to this, it's not about what it's like just better. There's some goods that are just better. They're not the optimal option. So when it comes to this one, you again need to think of the processes that are taking, which is going to be one of them, the de-inking of the whole situation. So when it comes to that one, it's still using chemicals in order to de-ink those papers that are being recycled. So again, one of the things is, it doesn't matter what we're doing. If we are consuming it, it's still not the greatest. It is substantially less harmful, but again, it's what's the best of both evils. Obviously, recycled sticky notes are going to be the best. According to some research that I was doing, there's some of them that are good or not as good. The sticky won't work as well. The ink won't be staying in the actual paper. So the best one, the best bang for your buck is going to be the 3M recycled sticky notes. But again, what I want to do is make a transition where you're not using that at all. So I've actually talked about this one before. It's the Rocketbook. When it comes to that one, you can go ahead and do a lot of notes. Again, what I bought is the Fusion. The main reason why I did that is because it has the opportunity to do more of like the to-do list. So you can actually see that this is like the one for work. So it has my to-do list. It tells you like what you have to do, when it's due, the estimated time, and then you have like the little like space where you can actually cross it off or just check mark. But not only that, like you can actually go ahead and just make a decision of what is better for you per day, or like on a day-to-day basis. There's actually 2 of them, and then there's just normal like calendar, and then just objectives. There's going to be key results and different things that you can do, or there's actually just like normal paper that you can do your things on. This is more for my notes, but you can still use this. The main reason is because it does seem like Post-its are used mostly for the actual like to-do lists that don't last for too long. So what I wanted to talk about is what I actually got. I did a little bit of research on this one. Essentially with this one, it's going to be called Blackboard, and it's actually pretty cool. It's this thing. I'm not sure if you're able to see it very well or not. With this one, it actually has its own pen, and you can actually write and delete. So if you actually see in here, you can lock it or unlock it. What I'm going to do is unlock it, and I'm gonna clean it up. And if you see, like, it literally cleans it up. It does come with like 4 different like shapes. It actually has like that one, or just with dots, or it also has like just lines. Essentially what I do is like I write my very specific like reminders. So I'm like, remember to call I don't know who, one. So I just leave it like that. And the greatest part about that is that it actually has a stand. So it's one of the things that you can actually not miss. So you can actually go ahead and just put it in. And that's how I actually remember. Sorry that the glare, it's a little bit bad, but that's essentially what it is like. And again, you can just go ahead and delete. Maybe you actually went in, did a little thing. So if you see, I block it, and you cannot delete it anymore, because I have done that in the past. So again, this is a very easy transition. I think this was like about $30 or something. But I mean, just think about how much money you can actually save. Because I used to go through so many Post-its and I had so many of them. They were all different. Some were for my like just to-do list. Some of them were just reminders, and the other ones I actually used to use for my actual like documents. So again, a great way of just doing a transition where really like you wouldn't use any type of paper. Again, I know that Post-its are something that we used to use. Believe me, I was one of those. But again, I started seeing how they kept like stacking up. I would forget about them and I wouldn't do things that I needed to do anyways because I had so many. And I think that's where we actually get lost on clutter. Again, if you must for sure have some of those, I would definitely recommend the recycled ones. Again, it creates like a less of a bad, but if you do have the opportunity, I would definitely recommend to have either of these. Again, for the Rocketbook, I usually use just because I used to have so many notebooks. When it comes to the blackboard, I just use as things that I must do or just for a reminder, and it's green, so you can, to be completely honest, at least that's me. I hope this is a good transition for you. If you have any questions, please go ahead and ask me. I would love to be able to help out. And if not, thank you so much for watching. Maybe I'll see you next one. Thank you. Bye.